You don't ever want to look down at a medic, because one day, you might find yourself looking up at one. When playing as a medic, you need to understand that kills, or really combat in general, is not your top priority. Whether or not you're useful to your team is largely dependent on your ability to keep yourself in good position so that you can quickly get to and revive your fallen teammates. See, in Hell Let Loose, you really aren't penalized in any way for redeploying, and since the spawn timer on outposts is only 20 seconds, fallen players don't have much of a built-in incentive to wait around for a medic to hopefully come revive them.
Deployed, what the fuck?
So as a medic, the single most important thing you can do is focusing on creating that incentive by being in the right place at the right time, so that if one of your teammates does go down, you're right there to pick them back up. In order to achieve this, always try to stay within a 50-meter radius of the largest concentration of friendly soldiers on the map at all times. This way you'll always be within 15 seconds of your fallen teammates, as that's approximately how long it takes to run 50 meters in Hell Let Loose. This makes waiting for you to come revive them a more viable option, as you can revive them and get them back into the fight faster than they can redeploy at a nearby outpost or garrison and then run back to the action. But staying within 50 meters of your teammates has another benefit that not many people know about. Being near a medic in Hell Let Loose actually reduces the effects of being suppressed. Staying within 50 meters of your teammates is easier to accomplish in offensive mode, as nearly all of the attacking and defending forces are typically concentrated around a single strong point. In warfare mode, everyone is naturally more spread out, since each team has to manage defending their own sector while simultaneously trying to capture the enemy's sector. Medics can still be impactful in warfare mode, but it really depends on how the game is playing out. For example, if you find yourself in a game where there are very few or no garrisons being built, playing as a medic can be rather beneficial in warfare mode, as you can prevent people from having to redeploy and run long distances back to the strong point. But if there are several garrisons being placed and they're in good positions, then there are usually other more impactful roles you can fill, like engineer or support. And you can find links to my engineer and support videos down in the video description, so be sure to check those out as well. A medic can only be in one place at a time, so you're going to need to learn how to prioritize your patients. Let's say you've just spawned in on an airhead with your squad, and your machine gunner, support, and squad leader are quickly gunned down. In this case, it's probably best to prioritize saving your squad leader first, so that they have a chance to scramble to safety and put down an outpost, since airheads are only temporary spawn points. If you're taken out before you have a chance to revive the others, they'll at least be able to redeploy on the outpost that your squad leader placed. Another example is if there's an enemy tank nearby and your anti-tank teammate gets hit. He should be your top priority. However, I do recommend asking them if they have the explosive ammo they need to knock out the tank if you do revive them. They may actually be out of rockets, and in that case, redeploying on an outpost or garrison is a better option, as they'll spawn in with full ammo. Just make sure you make decisions quickly and don't freeze up while overthinking who to revive. If you're not sure, just start reviving people. It's better to revive a low priority player than nobody at all. In addition to prioritizing your patients, you'll also need to learn how to assess the situation and determine the viability of saving each person. If a blueberry decides to Leroy Jenkins their ass into an open field and gets cut down by machine gun fire, they probably aren't worth trying to save. The likelihood of making it to them, let alone either of you making it out of that field and back to cover, is very slim. If you're making your way to a fallen teammate but artillery starts dropping near that position, you're only going to get yourself blown up trying to reach them. Sometimes you just need to cut your losses and move on to someone else. If you can't make it to someone to revive them, it's a good idea to let them know so they can just redeploy. Communication is an important aspect of being a good medic in Hell Let Loose. When making your way to a fallen comrade, tell them over local chat not to redeploy and that you're coming to revive them.
Don't redeploy, I'm coming.
Oftentimes, you'll need to eliminate the enemy threat before proceeding to revive and heal your teammate, so ask them for any information they might have, like where they were shot from or how many enemies there were.
Where'd you guys get hit from? Down this alley?
Yeah, there's some guys straight down this alley.
The more information you can gather about the situation, the better prepared you'll be to address it. Once players are revived, they're still in an injured state until they're bandaged, and because of this, players have a tendency to equip their bandage once they're revived. But since they only have 3 bandages and you have 20, you should offer to bandage them and save them a bandage. This also allows them to keep their primary weapon equipped so they can defend you both while you patch them up. An exception to this is if there are multiple down teammates. Sometimes in this case you won't have enough time to bandage the person you revive, and you'll need to quickly get to the next person. While you're working on reviving and healing one teammate, let the others know that you'll be coming for them next if they can hold on. This little bit of communication goes a long way in encouraging people not to redeploy. And keep in mind that all nearby teammates can hear you when you use local chat, so even if they aren't down themselves, it lets them know that they have a competent medic on their team, and they'll probably be less likely to instantly redeploy if they're taken down later in the game. You also need to make sure you're communicating with the other medics on your team if you aren't the only one. Only one medic can get credit for a revive, so it's an unnecessary risk and a wasted effort having two medics competing for the same revive.
Get in there, bro. Oh, you got it.
Instead, try to divide and conquer, as this will result in more saved lives and a greater benefit to the team. The medic role probably uses local chat more than any other role in the game, so I highly recommend mapping the local chat function to a key or mouse button that you can comfortably use. Now, in order to safely reach your fallen teammates, you'll need to learn how to move while minimizing the enemy's sightlines to you. The best way to do this is by using hard cover. Hard cover includes things like stone walls, buildings, sandbags, trench systems, and bunkers. While these all make for excellent cover, they won't always be an option for you. Sometimes you'll have to be more creative. Going prone behind things like snowbanks, tree stumps, rocks, berms, wheat fields, rubble, and even slight changes in ground elevation can provide you with just enough cover and concealment from incoming fire to inchworm your ass to a fallen comrade and get close enough to revive them. Sometimes there simply aren't any sources of cover or concealment in the area, and this is where your smoke grenades can come in handy. But it's important to understand how to effectively use smoke grenades. I see a lot of medics throw a smoke grenade right on the body of their teammate. The problem with this is that if an experienced enemy sees smoke pop right on the body of someone they just shot, they know there will be a medic crawling over to save them in a minute, so they'll just keep their sights on that body and then open up on the location once the smoke screen builds. Throwing smoke near your team will also blind them, potentially allowing the enemy to advance on your position. So instead of throwing the smoke grenade on your teammate's body, throw it between their body and the enemy's position. That way you'll conceal your position while blinding the enemy and not your teammates. If possible, I also recommend asking your nearby teammates to provide a base of fire on the enemy's location to keep them suppressed or at least distracted while you attempt to save your buddy. By the way, if you do end up catching a bullet,
oh Lord, they coming.
One of the perks of being a medic is that you can bandage yourself much faster than other roles can, and it actually takes quite a while to bleed out, so don't feel like you need to bandage yourself immediately. Just finish the job and then get back into cover before worrying about bandaging yourself. While getting into firefights shouldn't be your focus while playing as a medic, that doesn't mean you aren't capable of dispatching a few enemies here and there. The standard issue loadout for the US Medic includes the M1 carbine as the primary weapon and the Colt M1911 for a sidearm. The German Medic carries the Kar 98K and the Walter P38 for a sidearm, and the Soviet Medic carries the Mosin Nagant 9130 and the Nagant M1895 for a sidearm. Each faction's standard issue loadout also includes 2 smoke grenades, 20 morphine syrettes, and 20 bandages. But before you try to go all Rambo with the medic role, keep in mind that you still have a very limited amount of ammunition. The US Medic only gets 2 magazines for the carbine, while the German and Soviet medics get 4 magazines for the Kar 98K and the Mosin Nagant. So use those weapons to defend yourself, but don't go looking to rack up kills. Personally, when I'm between reviving people, I like to watch our team's flank. If the enemy tries to ambush from our rear, I can communicate that to my teammates right away and help defend. And if you run out of ammo, you can always ask a rifleman or level 3 support player to drop an ammo box for you. Now once you reach level 3 medic, you'll unlock an alternative loadout which only gives you a pistol for the primary weapon, the Colt M1911 for the US, the Luger P08 for the Germans, and the Nagant M1895 for the Soviets. This makes you far less combat effective, however this loadout includes 4 smoke grenades instead of the 2 included with the standard issue loadout, as well as a medical supply box, which allows your teammates to resupply their bandages. These are best used in offensive mode, where most of your team will be concentrated on either attacking or defending a single strong point. You should avoid placing them right by a garrison, as teammates who spawn in on garrisons will already have resupplied bandages and won't really benefit from the presence of your medical box. box. Instead, place them at the front line where there's a steady concentration of incoming enemy fire. That's where they're most likely to be utilized. Personally, I don't find the medical supply box to be very useful, so the main benefit of using the level 3 loadout is the extra 2 smoke grenades you get, which can come in handy for assaulting an enemy position. Overall, I prefer to use the standard issue loadout so that I can effectively defend myself and dispatch the occasional enemy or two in order to get to my fallen buddies. If you want to truly understand where you need to be throughout the match to be most effective, it's absolutely crucial that you understand the different game modes in Hell Let Loose. So make sure you check out my Understanding Warfare vs. Offensive video next. I also invite you to join my Discord using the link in the description. Our community is growing fast, and we're more than happy to help out new players in our very own Hell Let Loose server, SoulSniper Soldiers of Fortune. So come hang out with us. Finally, I'd like to send a big thank you to my channel members for supporting the channel. If you'd like to help support the channel while getting access to some cool perks yourself, consider becoming a channel member by clicking on the join button. You can also use the thanks button to send a small one-off donation if you're interested. As always, thanks a lot for watching, you guys. I appreciate it, and I'll see you again in the next one.